In the meeting of St. Mary's County Board of Education for Wednesday, February 1st, 2023. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's see. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move approval of the agenda as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public comments? Do we have any public comment?
No.
Okay. All right, then we have one action item for this morning, and that is approval of the fiscal year 2024 budget for submission to the county commissioners. Ms. McCourt.
Good morning.
Morning. Morning.
So we are going to run through a lot of the same slides that we have previously, and so to ensure that all of this information is available to the general public as well as to the county commissioners. Starting with the superintendent's recommended budget, that was $278.7 million. 2 weeks ago, we received updated state aid numbers for fiscal 2024, understanding that these are preliminary numbers. That increased our state aid dollar amount by $382,507. So, walking through the revenues, we're looking at $130 million for county funding that we're requesting, or an 8.4, almost $8.5 million increase. We've incorporated $2 million for fund balance, $299,000 for the charter school fund balance. $142.1 million is the state aid number that we've preliminarily received, and that represents a $16.7 million increase. We've incorporated $2.4 million in federal funds and $2.2 million in other funding sources, for a total of $279.1 million in the estimated revenues for next year, or an overall increase of $26.3 million. That represents a 10.4% increase in the bottom line, and a 7% increase in local funding, which is just over CPI at this time. On the expenditure side, as required, we're presenting the expenditures by category. These are the MSD defined categories. I'd like to highlight particular increases, and that is in the area of instructional salaries and wages. It's an overall increase of 7.4, almost $7.5 million. That represents 8.3% increase in that category line, which includes the salary scale adjustment that was just negotiated and approved last week, as well as step increases for all of our teachers and paraeducators. The other line that I'd like to highlight is the operation of plant, a $3 million increase in that account. Not only does that include salary scale adjustment for all of our ESPs, but it also incorporates 18 new safety and security officers for elementary schools. Additionally, there's a significant increase in fixed charges of $4.1 million, and that includes our estimated healthcare insurance increase of 5%, as well as the associated fixed charges for Social Security associated with the salary increases. So now we'll go through each of the individual categories. For the administration category, there is an increase of $598,000, or 15.1% requested to support the $4.5 million for this category. It includes funding for salary increases, a new SAF auditor, a new blueprint accountant, a new human resources staffing manager, and network switches and access points totaling $111,000. Under the mid-level administration category, there's a requested increase of $1.7 million, or 9.3% increase. This also includes funding for salary increases, a new secretary for the charter school, a new programmer analyst, Microsoft support for expanded services, which totals $446,000, data security platform enhancements for $125,000, Google Workspace for education for $75,000, SANS servers and storage for $125,000, firewall for $44,000, and mid-level administration laptop refresh of $186,000. Under instructional salaries and wages, there's an overall increase of $7.4 million, representing an 8.3% increase. That again includes the funding for salary increases as well as a new charter school guidance counselor, 3 new certified athletic trainers, 3 new ESOL teachers, 3 new high school PE health teachers, the reallocation of 16 Blueprint pre-K expansion positions from the restricted fund, the reallocation of 2 teachers from Title II, the reclassification of an IRT mentoring induction to 11-month, and an increase in substitute rate of pay. For textbooks and instructional supplies, there's a requested increase of $2.6 million or 57.7% increase to include smart panels and technology refresh for schools, totaling $1.5 million. Spring Ridge Middle School and Lexington Park Elementary School network refresh for new PA system for $210,000. Access points and switches for $114,000. Instructional software shift from grant funding. This is predominantly from our ESSER funding that is coming to the end of life. Career and technology instructional materials, as well as a use of fund balance of $2 million to support the secondary math textbook adoption. Under other instructional costs, we have an overall increase requested of $357,000 or 17.5% increase to support the dual enrollment and advanced placement. The dual enrollment increase is $319,000 and AP increase is $365,000, and an overall decrease in contracted temporary hourly support due to a mid-year reallocation of staffing. Under special education, we have an overall requested increase of $1.4 million or a 6.7% increase to support funding for salary increases, as well as 2 new secretaries, the reallocation of 5 Blueprint pre-K expansion positions from the restricted fund, the reallocation of 9 TIDES program positions from the restricted fund, as well as a High Roads contract increase of $186,000 and non-public placement increase of $500,000. For student personnel services, there's a requested increase of $1.1 million or 78.1% increase. This includes funding for salary increases. However, the most significant component of this increase is to support the workforce development career counseling in alignment with the Blueprint requirements. This provides an allocation of $62 per student, K through 12, for a total of $1,044,000. Under student health services, there is a requested increase of $96,672 or a 3.2% increase to support funding for salary increases, as well as a reclassification of a mental health coordinator. Under student transportation, there is a requested increase of $795,000 or 3.5% increase to support funding for salary increases, contracted bus PVA increase, hourly contractor driver attendant rate increase, a fuel rate of $6 per gallon, maintenance increase to $1.10 per mile, and an operations fee increase, a healthcare trust contribution increase of $100, and a 1 replacement bus. For operation of plant, there is a requested increase of $3 million or 15.5% increase to support funding for salary increases, 18 new safety and security assistants for the elementary schools, 2 new computer support specialists, a cybersecurity engineer, 2 building service workers, a reclassification of an information technology specialist to an IT project coordinator, the upgrade of a video surveillance system at a cost of $450,000, the replacement of a fire alarm system, contractual inflationary increases in our maintenance projects, utility increases, as well as replacement vehicles. For maintenance of plant, we have a requested increase of $1.7 million or 37.7% to support funding for salary increases, a new work-based learning maintenance team lead, contractual inflationary increases in our maintenance projects, equipment replacements, contracted painting, building repairs, as well as roofing maintenance. Under fixed charges, there's an increase of $4.1 million or 7% increase to support Social Security increases associated with the salary increases, pension increase, a health care insurance increase currently estimated at 5%, as well as the general liability workers' compensation insurance increases. Under capital outlay, we have a requested increase of $1.1 million, 123% increase to support funding for salary increases, building modifications, capital infrastructure and facilities management software of $540,000, and furniture replacement for $560,000. So just to summarize some of our highlights, we have the salary scale adjustment of 5.5% for ESMIC and ESMIC ESP. That totals $7.15 million. The step increase totals $2.2 million. SMASA agreement for the step and the 2% in their agreement is $800,000. We have the healthcare incremental cost increases, as well as the transportation increases for the escalating fuel costs, bus contractor driver wage increases, the bus maintenance escalator. We have the increases associated with the blueprint to cover the dual enrollment and AP exams of $865,000, workforce development of $1.1 million, the textbook adoption of $2 million, facility maintenance increases recognizing the increase in CPI of 6.7%, as well as recognition of the minimum wage increase to $14 this time next January. So you're all familiar with the ECCs, or the essential cost change forms, that are required to be completed by the Board of Education and submitted to the county commissioners as part of our budget package. We have compiled two specific highlights, and that are addressing the Maryland Blueprint for Education salary increase, focused specifically on the ESMIC and ESMIC ESPs. That totals $7.6 million for the component that we're requesting county commissioner support on, as well as ECC number 2 for the safety and security assistance, the 18 for the elementary schools. That totals $843,000. So just to summarize, the total funding request that we are asking for from the county commissioners is $8.4, almost $8.5 million. So with that, Dr. Smith, do you have any additional words?
No, I don't, other than it's a big budget. It's a big budget, and we see that. The most important part of that budget that's coming across the street to our local funding agents is the salary enhancements for our staff. We all find ourselves in a situation where there are more jobs than there are employees. It is a competitive job market. We are losing staff from St. Mary's County Public Schools to go on the base with contractors who are luring them with salaries that outstrip our own. This is the same statements that we've heard with the county commissioners make, and that's why we so applaud the county commissioners' decision to provide their staff a cost of living increase almost effective immediately. We wish we had the ability to do something like that, but that is what's built into our budget. When we looked at our salaries, we lagged behind Charles substantially, and Calvert, again, fairly, it's an amount of money that might sway a decision one way or the other. That first ECC addresses it. More importantly, it addresses it in the St. Mary's County way, which is we recognize that teachers can't do their jobs in the classroom without the incredible support of everybody, from the bus driver in the morning to the building service worker that makes sure that the building is open, to the food service worker that makes sure that they have a hot breakfast and lunch, to all of the supporting staff instructionally throughout the day, paraeducators and related attendants, to all the maintenance and operations. Everybody in St. Mary's County Public Schools needs to have the benefit of salary scale adjustment to make it more competitive, as well as the step that they have earned through their faithful service throughout the last several years of the pandemic. So I realize it's a large number. The money that is spent on the educational system in St. Mary's County isn't spent, it's invested. It's invested in our students, it's invested in the people that help our students every single day, and it's invested in the community that they serve. So let's call it a very large investment that we're seeking. Let's hope that it finds fertile ground.
So with that, we request the board's approval of this agenda item.
Okay, anyone have any questions? Dorothy, I know you had a bunch of questions that that Tammy had answered during the last work session. Do you have any more questions on anything that was on that document that we had put together?
I think I exhausted everybody with all of my questions.
So,
And I want to definitely thank Tammy for following up every time that I did. I know that some of them were probably strange, but trust me, I was trying to find something, people. Okay, there's nothing there except for what we need
Well, yeah.
to invest in the students. And, I had some doubts about a couple of things, but everything was answered. All the directors, the superintendent,
Yeah.
you did a great job coming together, working with each other to try to get this finished on time
Right.
so we can get over to the commissioners.
Absolutely.
So, no, I had no other questions.
okay, good.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Yeah.
I know we tabled it because we were kind of running short in
Yeah.
between times, so I just wanted to make sure. All right, does anyone have any other questions on the budget?
Just some comments, notwithstanding what Dr. Smith said about increase in salaries, it's very, very obvious to me, and I think to everybody on the board. I noticed in your presentation, there was 3 or 4 categories that really were high increases. Textbooks, student support, and capital outlay were some of them that I noticed. Instead of being 7 or 8 or 10% higher, they were 150% higher, 56% higher. So it's not a question, it's just a comment that this is what really stuck out in your presentation that I found, in the histograms. It was very, very obvious. So that's my only comment.
And if I may, absolutely, and I'd like to go back and point out a couple of things. Certainly, you'll notice a significant increase percentage-wise for capital outlay, and that's directly attributable to some of those one-time costs.
And if you remember, the capital infrastructure and facilities management software, Ms. Howe came forward and was talking specifically about that. I think the cost of that's
$540,000.
it's over $500,000. But that software will allow us to do asset inventory tagging and will ultimately help us to manage the resources that we have within the school system and also make us more have a greater ability to respond to capital improvement requests and things going forward with the state. When we say we need something, we'll be able to give them, people will always say, well, where's the data? We'll be able to give them the data from that, as well as updating building use software and work order inventorying and things like that. So half of that increase is directly related to that software, but that software hopefully will introduce a greater level of efficiency within the system.
And of
So.
course, the student personnel services, this is another one of those areas that had that really significant jump that you mentioned, and that's directly attributable to the workforce development mandates of the blueprint.
So the state's giving us $1 million, and then we have to turn around and create an MOU with the Workforce Development Board to execute the expectations of the blueprint. But that's $1 million out of that 1.138. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot.
All right, may I have a motion?
I move that the Board of Education approve the FY 2024 budget as presented and forward to the Commissioners of St. Mary's County for their review and approval.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion is carried. Let's see, next meeting is next Wednesday, February 8th at 9 o'clock for open session, executive at 8. And we are out.